Hey guys, Luke here, 13 Motorsports. Today we have an interesting situation going on. This car, 2022 Outback, with the 2.5 liter turbo engine. Yes, turbo. It's got a weird running condition. It's picking up power, losing power, picking up power, losing power. And there's a weird sound coming from it. So one of our techs diagnosed that this is the issue. We smoke tested it. And I'm guessing you would call this a charge pipe. It is the hot side, pressurized side of the intercooler system. So I think what we're gonna do, just to show you guys a little bit more detail, is pump some smoke into this thing. But it looks like it's failed along here somewhere. Looks like it's kind of cracked up here. And it's making a very interesting whistling sound. You can see how it's opened up here quite a bit. Okay, so let's take a look. Let's smoke test this thing and then we can verify that this is the issue. The smoke tester. So what this does is make smoke. We're gonna fill this thing up with some smoke. So we've got our smoke machine here. And what this does is it uses some low smoking point oil, turn this on, to produce a stream of smoke that gets pumped in there with pressurized air, and then we'll be able to look and visually see the leak. So you can see the smoke coming out of there. I don't know if you can catch that on the camera, but in here, shove it in there, and then we're just gonna cover this with a plate or something. Perfect. Oh, yeah, I can feel it coming out, leaking on my hands. There you go. See that big opening there? So that's where we're losing all our boost pressure from. And it's also causing a whistling noise. So, quite obvious now. All right, so what are we gonna do about this problem? Here's the problem. This part is back ordered. This part is back ordered from Subaru. When the cars are really new, all the parts go on the cars that they're selling. They don't have parts in store. So we're not gonna be able to fix this. Looked online and there's a couple solutions for different models, but nothing for this 2.5. So since you came to 13 Motorsports, we're not gonna let you leave unless your car is fixed. Huh? Or should rephrase that. We're not gonna hold you hostage, but we've got solutions. So what we can do with this is we can build this flange and remake this pipe out of aluminum. I've already looked at the dimensions and it looks like it's 2 3/4 on this end, which is standard size. And then this side, we'll have to make this flange and make something fit. But anything is possible. With the right tools and the right skills, we can make it happen. So let's get to it. Through the power of movie magic, I'm done. Not that difficult, not that easy as well. There's some very complicated geometry on the flange and the way that it transitions from that odd shape to a round shape. So I have a sneaky feeling that we're gonna need to make more of these. If you're interested in one, comment below. I'm gonna try to hang on to the old part and make a little jig and get this flange drawn up in CAD, machine it out, because if this failure is happening with this car with 60,000 kilometers on it, it's definitely going to happen. This is one of the issues with plastic components, especially something in this situation where It's running under elevated temperature, elevated pressure, so it's under a lot of stress. And what they've done with this part is that they've taken what looks like two separate halves and they've essentially plastic welded it together, and that's where it's failed. It's failed at the weld. Put your screwdriver in there. You see how that's opened up there? Look at that. It's a complete failure. And what you're looking at is plastic, and melted plastic in between that they're trying to seal it with. So, seeing that, we're definitely going to see more of this issue again. So what we did is we used some aluminum to replace this. Vibrant Performance offers a great selection of bends, transitions, and all different kinds of things that'll work well. So we were able to find one of their ultra tight radius bends, 3-inch for here, transition, and another 45-degree bend, 2.75-inch diameter. So with those components and a little bit of skill, we took this flange, made a template just out of paper, and we're able to make the same flange out of aluminum. Cut it out with the bandsaw. I was able to borrow my neighbor's mill and make this little pocket here, clean it up with the burr, flatten it all up on the belt sander, and now we've got a nice transition from this really odd shape, which I'm not sure why that's like that, into a round shape, and then we transition down into 2 3/4 to match what's existing on the car. So this part here, as you see it, is a direct replacement for this one. It's going to match up with the OE hoses and everything else. We're going to make a gasket for here, but if we do make this as a production part, we will utilize the original O-ring seal. Not that it's any better or any worse, but it'll just be a little bit easier to install and smaller chance for error. So we're going to install the part now. And our problem should be solved. We were able to use the Vibrant Performance bead roller to roll a nice bead in the end here, just like the factory piece, and that'll lock the original coupler on, and problem solved. So the moral of the story is, if you have enough desire, you can fix anything, repair it, and even upgrade it in this case. The only thing that's nice about this part that I would like to see on this is a thermal solution. So plastic is a very good insulator from heat because it does not conduct heat very well. Aluminum, on the other hand, is the exact opposite. Considering this is on the hot side of the turbo system, which means it is pre-intercooler, it hasn't been cooled, I'm not really super concerned about the heat transfer. If it was on the cold side, I would, because after you pass the pressurized and high temperature air through the intercooler, you don't want to bring the temperature back up by having basically a heat sink. So like I said, in this case, I'm not super concerned. If this was a modified or performance car, we would either ceramic coat this or wrap it in some type of heat insulation. But in this case, we're going to throw it on and we're going to solve our customers' problems and make sure that we don't see them again for the same issue. Tuck that in there. This actually installs way nicer than the STI one, but it's using basically all the same screws too, which is also nice. What's interesting about this motor is it's a 2.5 liter, which I just learned that today, and the turbo's at the bottom, kind of like the newer gen WRXs. Bottom mounted turbo, 2.5 liters, bigger than the Ascent motor even. So this thing probably rips pretty good, especially if, you know, we got our hands on it with some tuning. So now that I got a nice bead roll in there, you can feel it under there. So we know that clamp is gonna get locked on once I tighten it up here. These are some really nice clamps as well. OE quality. Now I'm always very particular about my clamps. If you ever get something that we put together, I think everybody in here has gotten for having their clamps misaligned or having these tangs out or something. I've said something about it to everybody here, so I'm very particular about my clamp orientation. Oh yeah, that's not coming off at all. So I think it's safe to say our job is done here. We're gonna start it up just to, I don't know, I already know it's gonna work, but we'll start it up anyway. Just for the gram. Cool. Okay, so obviously it started fine. We're gonna get these cars out of the way and take it for a test drive, and everything should be okay. Like I said, if you're interested in one, we're gonna try and keep the old part and make a little jig and make some more. So let us know in the comments. Like, subscribe, do the thing. Thank you to our sponsors, especially Vibrant Performance on this one. We did buy all the materials and everything, but they do have an awesome lineup, great quality products. And over the years, they've expanded. So they've got tons of stuff like that ultra tight radius bend that really helps on this job. To the rest of our sponsors, NEOS Engine Oil, JRP, X-Clutch, Track One, and HKS. We are a pro dealer. They don't make anything for this car, but if you need anything else, hit us up.